Alrighty. Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening. How's it going?
Evening.
Evening.
What's going
Evening,
on?
Governor.
Hello, love. How are you? What's shaking today? I'm very tired, but we're going to do this.
Energy level. Let's go. Bring it up.
Bring it up.
Get a little liquid courage and
I did my Qigong this morning, you know. I dug up a stump today. I'm tired. Don't ask me why.
Qigong. What the hell's Qigong?
It's my new series of stretches like that I do in the morning. I don't know.
And you
It's
named
kinda
it that, or it came with that name?
No, it came with that name. I think it's like Tai Chi's cousin. And it's like it's a series of stretches that you do. But then I dug up the stump and never again.
That's not part of the Qigong. The Kwai
No,
Chang.
that's
What
definitely
is
not
it?
part of it. I'm too old to dig up a stump. I dug it up by hand. I had a chainsaw. I had a sawzall. It was crazy. Anyway,
How long did it take you to dig up a stump?
pretty
All
much
day?
all day. And then
I can't think of a worse way to spend my day. Would you rather get a root canal or dig up a stump? Root canal. I'll take two.
Wait, in the middle of that, in the spirit of this car episode, since we are in Massachusetts and we talk about getting cars, I went to get a sticker for my car, which I'm going to talk about as my favorite car.
Sticker.
And it got rejected, so I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But anyway, so today's episode is going to be called The Car Episode. We are going to talk about cars, and I think for our generation, cars were really a huge part of what we did growing up as adults, and we had the best cars coming into our generation as part of us, those whole American muscle cars, right? So anyway, if you are a man that is pushing 60, or you are already 60 and pushing that 60-year-old rock up that hill to whatever's next, this podcast is for you. You are in the right place. Welcome. We're glad that you're here. So yeah, as I just mentioned, it's going to be the car episode. Today we're going to talk about cars, and leading into this, I think about the old Western guys all came in on horseback, right? But then the next thing they all did, all the cool guys came in their cars. They had a car. All the cool guys had the cars, and all the cool guys got the girls in their awesome cars, right? There's people you can think, I mean, probably prior to us, there was the James Deans, there was the Steve McQueens of the world, right? I immediately think of Smokey and the Bandit. I don't know why, because that was more of our generation, right? With the cars. But there's so many things, movies you see, oh my God, that car was awesome, that car was awesome. But I just think the American muscle car is awesome. Like, and I never drove one, I never owned one, but I think that generation, our generation of cars and what we did in cars, we went from these feral unattended minors riding our bikes around the neighborhood to these feral unattended teenagers with licenses, and we drove everywhere. Your car was literally the vehicle that took you to all these memories, right? That's what it was. It was this thing. It was, you look at that car you bought years ago and you're like, oh my God, I had one of those. You see something driving by and it takes you back it's like a specific song. You hear a song, like, you know where you were. You see that car and you know where you were. And you drive by a car, and to me, some of these cars are like works of art too. They're, I've never seen the Mona Lisa, but if I see a vintage car, I'm like, wow, that's awesome, right? But then if I see something that I was rode in, it's even better. It's like, wow. And you see these people at these car shows, and I think it's a little wacky that they're all just putting hoods up and sitting around the parking lot looking at the cars and telling car stories, but that was the culture. There's a whole culture around it. I think that's really cool. But we're going to talk about all those things today, maybe getting some questions about the craziest things, the dumbest things, and what the cars meant to us. And so in the spirit of this, we are in Massachusetts, and you have to get a inspection sticker on your car once a year, and I went to do that today, and mine failed. I am presently driving my favorite vehicle ever, and I think everybody's been in it. And it's my 2013 Chevy Tahoe. It is however many years old that is, 13 years old. It's got over 200,000 miles, and I love it. And I got rejected for, gonna love it, and my license plate lights were out.
Oh,
So I
how
did,
dare you.
I know, how dare I? Can you even imagine? I'm like, come on. Like, really? The car is awesome. The thing's a beast. I love it. But it's just like, come on, man. But, that's my favorite car. I think it's probably because I'm driving it right now. But
Of all the things they could have rejected you for, though, seriously, in a car that's what vintage with 200,000 miles on it, your friggin' license plate light was the one that tripped you out.
Yes, that's what they got me for. So I have to go back. I went to the Napa, took it back, put the light bulbs in, called the place, like, we don't do stickers past whatever, 2 o'clock. You got to come back tomorrow. I'm like, really? I'm like, Jesus.
So now you have the big red, the scarlet R.
I got a giant sticker, so I have to look at that. But the only other thing I'll say about the cars is, I mean, we had 3 channels on our TV. I feel like we only had 3 brands, three car companies we were growing up to.
Yeah.
Ford, Chevy, whatever,
GM.
But you had the Pontiacs still. You had some of those Oldsmobile Buick. You had some of those other ones coming up. I mean, everybody knows what the cars were. You drove by, you knew what they were, right? And then the Corvette was probably the icon, right? That everybody wanted. It was the pinnacle. If you got the Corvette, you probably also got the girl too. But anyway, let's
Except when you
jump
get
right
the Corvette
in.
when you're 60.
Well, I think that's the remark about that. I'm like, every time a Corvette drives by me,
It's all gray hair.
I guarantee there is a 50 to 60-year-old man in that. Do women even drive those?
Not really.
So anyway,
No.
let's
No.
jump.
That's their
Seriously,
dream car.
we can talk about these. Anyway, who wants to jump in here? What do you got? Let's talk about cars. Let's talk. Where do you want to start?
Let me just throw something out there. It just hit me when you were talking about this. At 16 and a half, when you get your license, and the day I turned 16 and a half, I left high school to go and get take my test and get my license, and then went home and picked up the car that was sitting in my driveway that's been sitting there for probably 6 months. But it represented freedom.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Absolute freedom. I mean, it gave you a lot of freedom that you were kind of crazy and you did shitty things, but it was freedom. It was like
Isn't
the
there
first
somebody more
time you could get
qualified?
away. Yeah, exactly. Of course, there are more qualified people than a 16-and-a-half-year-old driving a freaking car down the road.
But you got in, and then the first thing you did was just go for a ride, like because you could. And now, when as a parent, I remember when my kids got their license. On the license, as a parent, you're like, this is the worst. They could just get in this car. They could kill
They are
themselves.
so
kill
ill-prepared.
Totally underprepared. The day my kids got their license, I mean, when they got their learner's permit, I took them on the highway. First ride, went right on the highway. I said, "I'm not guys going to not be afraid to do this." Yeah. It was nerve wracking, but I made them do it. I'm like, get in, let's go. And they made him drive, and that was maybe not one of my best decisions, but it worked. But, yeah.
Brian, it's funny. I was making notes for the podcast, and I was going to say the same thing. Like the day I was eligible to get my driver's license, 16 and a half. I remember, exactly the day. That's the day I made the appointment, went and got the license, my mom was working at the bank in Arlington, Massachusetts. I said, "Can I have the keys?" Middle of the day, she gave me the keys. Not that you know where the bank is, but there's this bank parking lot, and I come ripping through the parking lot, and there's a cop coming the other way, and he says, he just points at me, "Roll down your window," crank window, right? You roll it down, and he's like, "Where's the rush? What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Well, I just got my license." He's like, "You want to keep it? Slow down. You're in the parking lot." "Thank you, officer."
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I was literally, I'd been driving for 32 seconds. I got pulled over.
Roll down the window. I love how roll down the window has stuck, even though it doesn't. There's no rolling, right?
Right. But there's no motion you could make to somebody to indicate, "I want you to put your window down," other than
Right.
Yeah. Now the cop would have been like, "Oh, sorry, son, gonna get your ticket. You're gonna lose your license for a year. Have a nice day."
And at the time, I was 16 and a half. I'm sure I looked like I was probably 12, maybe 11.
Driving.
I mean, I didn't exactly look my age then. So I look like a little kid, exactly with the hands.
But you think of us now, like when everybody looks so much younger. So that cop he probably thought you stole it in the crime-ridden mean streets of
The mean streets of Arlington.
Arlington.
Right. Yeah.
So in talking about some of this questions, I don't want to get into the dream car thing. I think that might happen organically, but what for our cars, we drove around. Did you guys change the speakers out in your car and your radio? And yes, everybody did. That was something you did. I don't think that exists today. I mean, you might have even changed your oil. You felt like, "Ooh, I got to take care of this thing." Find me somebody born after 1980 that can change their oil.
Crutchfield magazine.
Yes.
To pick out radios and to put in an Alpine radio.
Yeah, Alpine.
Who replaces a radio in a car now? It doesn't happen.
Well, back then you could do it. You could crawl under the dashboard.
Right.
There was so much space. You could reach up. You could put a socket on the front of the AM/FM that came, or maybe it was just an AM. My first car had an AM radio.
Yeah, the FM was an upgrade, right?
No FM. I had an AM radio in my Ford Torino. Unfortunately, it wasn't a Grand Torino like Starsky and Hutch, but it was a Torino nonetheless. And that was one of the things, to your point, Brian, one of the first things I did when I got that car from my mom is we had to work on the engine because it was a POS, and I put a stereo in it. Before it was even on the road, It was sitting in my driveway, ready to go for me to get out of school that first day and go get my license. And then I drove to school to pick up my girlfriend.
Did you used to
That was
sit
so
in
cool.
it with the radio on and just listen to it up on blocks in the driveway because it wasn't able to go anywhere?
Wash
Yeah,
it.
we didn't have a big house, so if you could get anytime you could get out of your house and just go drive around and do something, put the music on. And we didn't have cell phones, especially if we're probably jumping ahead to some stuff, but we didn't know where everybody was either at night. Like if you went out at night, you might have called them once and, hey, what are you doing? Oh, we're going to go here. We're going to go there. Okay, man, I'll catch up. But then you get there, nobody's there because the cop already busted up the party in the field. So you drove around town. So you needed a car. You drove around town looking for people. Oh, then you passed them on the road or something. And then you went to the hot spots and you took your car there. And everybody knew whose car was whose and whatever. But it was
Did you say you went to the sock hop? Is this men pushing 80?
Did I say sock hop?
No, he
what
said
did I
hot
say?
spot.
Hot spot.
Hot
I'm
spot.
sorry.
Sorry, that's my.
Sock hop.
I need to speak better. Yes, we went to the hot spot.
Well, it's like Brian said, I had the same sort of thought about, it was a rite of passage to get your license, and it represented, all the freedom that we could handle at 16 and a half, 17 years old, because you could get the fuck out of the house, leave the family, the parents, and you're, not that you were hitting the open road necessarily. It's not like we're, easy rider going across the country. You're just going across town, but you felt very sort of, free about, I can go do whatever I want. I can go pick up my friends. Nobody's watching us. Nobody, as I've mentioned on other podcasts, my son calls the 80s the lawless 80s because nobody knew where you were. Nobody knew what you were doing. There was no video, no phones, no nothing. So you were just able to get the hell out of Dodge and do whatever. And then as long as you got home by curfew, you were good.
And we learned how to drive, like anti-lock brakes, all that stuff now that cars have. We had none of that. We knew coming around a corner, if it was icy, you did not step on the brakes. You had to just turn into it.
All-wheel drive. All-wheel drive exists, and all these kids get in the cars, and it's like front-wheel drive, all-wheel drive. We had land yachts with rear-wheel drive. How many times? When was the last time you pushed somebody out of the snow? Right?
Yeah.
We remember pushing. We were always pushing
times a week.
somebody.
Yeah.
We were always pushing somebody because it was
You
rear-wheel
got to rock
drive
it back
spinning.
and forth, and you got the whole thing. Yeah.
Did
Did anybody ever have to pump their brakes to make sure because they were going to the floor? You had to put like brake fluid in, and if you forgot to fill it up or you had a leak somewhere, you'd have to like tap your brakes a couple times to get the lines primed with the brake fluid so that you could actually stop. So you'd have to get ready to stop before you actually needed to stop because
you had to be
such a piece
had
of
to
shit.
prepare to stop. You couldn't just expect to stop.
Yep. Maybe that made us better drivers.
I believe so.
Yeah. Plus, you could spill your drink, while you're trying to prime the brakes. I mean, that's just dangerous.
Do we want to talk about that? The drinking and driving during
That
our
was a
days.
joke, Carlo. I don't do that.
No, I'm totally serious. Do we want to talk about that? How acceptable it was? Maybe drank and drove all the time. That's what we did. It was. I'm not like,
Get
hey
a
man,
six-pack and drive around.
That's what happened. That's what we did. And sometimes the driver wasn't drinking. Sometimes the driver was. We drove around. We drank in our cars. We did whatever the hell we wanted to. It was crazy.
Usually beer, though. I mean, I don't know about you guys,
Yes.
but back when
Yeah,
you
we were not.
teenager,
We were not drinking
you're not-
Manhattans
yeah,
driving
you're
around.
not slugging on a bottle of bourbon. You just-
Because beer's so much better.
Well, it's less. I mean, you're drinking a Bud Heavy or whatever. And what was there? You had your Schlitz, Miller Lite, or Bud Heavies. What did
Busch.
you want?
Keystone Light. No,
Keystone Light.
I
Ugh.
can't think of what the first one I had.
What was the?
Narragansett.
Maybe I don't want to jump ahead. Sorry, Brian. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say Narragansett was the first beer I had.
Natty Lights, sure. I was gonna say, what's the first car you got? I think that was on the list of things we were gonna cover.
Yeah.
What was the first car? Mine was horrible, but what was your first? I don't know if it was the car your parents gave you that was the kid's car, or if you had your own. Like, what was the first thing you were like driving? It was the Torino for Mark, I think you said, right?
Yeah.
Not the Grand, but the
No, it wasn't the Grand.
Grandma
Yep.
Torino.
Mine was a
Immediately, yeah.
Chevy Malibu that my brother had wrecked. And so the front end was all effed up. And so I worked on it. I got a new hood to put on there. So it was like cowl induction hood. So it kind of looked like a Chevelle. And Mark's laughing because at one point I primer racing striped on this Chevy Malibu. And because the front end was damaged, I get a little story about this car. The hood didn't always fit right. You had to like make sure it was like caught. So I had it at a garage. They were doing something to it, and I picked it up, and I went and picked up our friend Tony, and we were going down Mammoth Road, and I decided to punch it. And as I punch it, the hood flips up, smashes the windshield, and I'm doing like 60 down this road. So I got stuck my head out the window like a dog, and I'm driving.
No, don't stop or anything.
No, why would you stop?
I'd speed up at that point.
Why would you want to stop?
Well, because you're in a hurry now. You got to get somewhere to fix it.
So I freaking drove the thing home, and I couldn't figure it out. Like the springs all pulled up, so you couldn't push it back down. It was like a foot off from where it should be, even on the back end. I'm like, what the hell?
It sounds like a cartoon. This
Oh, it
really
was
happened?
ridiculous. It was ridiculous. But yeah, that was my first car. Chevy Malibu.
For me, it was a Dodge Coronet. Remember they used to have the
yeah.
cop cars. Well,
I think I got to Google that. I'm not even sure I know what
big. All these cop cars in these old movies were Dodge, these Coronets, and my dad traded in his awesome pickup truck, this little 3 on the tree. Wish we had that today. It was this Dodge Coronet. He traded his truck in, and my brother and I shared the car. So he was older than me, so he got the car first, which he was stoked about because he got his license however many months way ahead of me. And then we shared it, and then he was so pissed when I got hit in the. More my fault. I was not easy on cars. I will maybe tell some stories. And yeah, God bless my parents. I was not. I'm not gentle on things anyway, and I was not on cars. And yeah, it was. He replaced the stereo, the speakers. He did all that. Put fog lights in this 4-door beast. It was awesome. It had like a 327. It had some weird engine in it that was like. It was a. I was thinking Hall. And peeling out in the 4-door. It was fantastic.
I'm just looking it up. I don't think I would know what it looked like, but it's actually a pretty good-looking car.
Yeah.
For a first car.
Yeah, it's a beast. Where's yours, Kevin?
So mine was the, and I'm sure you all know it. You can picture it when I say it. The Ford Fairmont. And the poop brown color was my mom's car.
Was it a special order, that color?
I'm hoping she got a deal on it because it was the most disgusting, like, diarrhea brown color.
And you shared it with your brother because I remember
2-door, and I shared it with my brother, and we put the. He was. Yeah, I mean, I'll confess now. I'm not the handiest guy. I'm handier now than I was when I was a kid. But he put all the speakers in, changed the radio out, all that stuff. But it was. I mean, it was your basic boxy sedan. It was terrible, but plastic steering wheel. Really low rent, crank windows, no AC, radio. Yeah.
What's the movie quote that's coming to my mind? You think you hate it now, wait till you drive it.
Chevy Chase, yeah, vacation. Bad.
You said plastic steering wheel. I think that my seats were plastic in the Torino.
Oh, for sure.
Oh,
They
yeah.
were like this, I don't know.
They weren't even pleather.
Pleather. Yeah, I don't even know what they were, but it cracked over the years and it just ripped. So you're sitting on the foam. I mean, and you said AC? Like, I think AC was maybe didn't come standard until what, the 90s?
We had AC, but it always seems like it came and went. Like it went sometimes, somebody charged it. I had a neighbor that was a mechanic, 2 of them, and they used to help us do stuff all the time. It was great. Like they would be like, they were retired, and they'd be like, "Hey, what do you got going on there?" As soon as the hood went up, I swear they were like, they could hear it, and then they came run. They just amazingly just came. What's going on there? What do you guys got going on? It was just it was great having them around. But that's back when you could fix stuff. You could stand inside the engine of these things. There was nothing but engine in essential parts.
Yeah.
Now
no computers, no extraneous wires or whatever.
No.
So ACs in my parents' station wagons, and it's one of the inventions that I kind of regret that it went away. Remember those little triangle things in the front windows that you opened? And it would blow the air in.
Opera window? Is that what it's called?
What was it called?
Opera window?
Opera window?
Am I
But those
making
things
that up?
were great. I mean, there was no AC in these station wagons, but that would get great amount of air coming in, airflow in the car.
Yeah, you're sitting in the back of the station wagon in those fold-up seats where it's on top of the exhaust system with no AC, breathing fumes. Oh, that was
your parents were
Sitting in
smoking.
the
Or one
middle.
of their friends was smoking, so it even pushed it back faster to you in the back seat, and nobody gave a crap. They're like, deal with it.
But sitting in the middle in the second row, straddling the transmission. Remember the heat
The
coming
hot
out?
seat,
I just
literally.
remember the buckles. So the seatbelt buckles that were on the floor that connected to the floor. If you touched that with a bare foot, it was like you put your hand into a 400-degree oven. It was like, oh. Yeah. Dashboards are made of metal, so you could just wash off the blood after the accident. Like
We used to pile people in the cars, right?
Oh, yeah.
There was no limit. You just piled them in. Seatbelts be damned. There was no seatbelts. Nobody cared. There were, but you had to find them because
They
they
were
were
all
just tucked under the seat.
Yeah.
I just remember my sister, my brother, and I, one day, I think the only accident my parents have ever got in their life was my brother, my sister, and I. My sister was younger. Maybe she was 4 or 5, and my brother and I were 10, 11, 12. And we were all, there was my mother and the 3 of us in the front seat, and we got in like a little fender bender in the supermarket parking lot. And we all ended up on the floor. And my mother's like, boys be damned. How's your sister? All it was. We just got up and started again. It was wild. Like, you hit the chrome bumper. I don't think anything happened. I think it was just, the 2 big giant vessels hitting each other, and we just went right on the floor.
The chrome bumper, that was like a cow catcher. The cars were so big, they were like a locomotive. And those chrome bumpers, there was, nowadays you bump into something, the airbag goes off, something plastic falls off your car. You could get in a pretty significant accident, and the fender didn't even budge. Like, you would just maybe dust off like Brian, I don't know, somebody just said it, like dust off the blood and just keep on driving. You'd never even have to tell the person that you borrowed the car from, or God forbid you borrowed it from your mom and dad. You may not even have to tell them you ran into something.
Get a little silver spray paint, and you're all set on the chrome bumper. Nowadays, you bump into somebody at 5 miles an hour, it's $6,000 worth of damage.
Yep.
In your whatever, pick a car, Camry, anything. There's nothing with a metal bump. Maybe a truck, right?
Maybe, but I don't think so.
The old trucks.
Yes.
I have.
So growing up across the street, there was a family of four. There was four brothers, who were between 5 and 10 years older than me, and they were all into American muscle cars back in the 70s and 80s. And I just remember being in that garage all the time, watching them changing engines, putting manifolds on, carburetors, headers.
Carburetor.
Yeah,
You could
dual
do that
carbs. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah,
You
it was
could
very
do that.
basic. It was like, here's a coil, here's where the electricity's come from, spark plugs, make all the plugs connect. Like, it was pretty basic, and you could literally climb into the engine area because it was so big.
I took auto shop in high school. I don't know if you guys did. I took auto shop. No. I think the only A I ever got in high school was my 2 years of auto shop.
You're a handy guy, though.
Auto shop and woodworking. I was so proud of myself. I should have went to the Vogue school.
It was a good time for cars, but none of us ever were even close to a good-looking car. Listen to the freaking cars that we all had. Yep. We all had gigantic POSs. So even though there were, Trans Ams and Corvettes and Mustangs, like the 60s Mustangs back when they were real Mustangs.
Yeah, the fastbacks.
None of us. Yeah, I mean, we either caught those on the downslope, or somebody's was all rusted out, and the engine was just a complete waste. But none of the good cars that you're talking about did we see, but in movies. Or maybe one of our neighbors would drive by in one, but we didn't even get a sniff.
No, it wasn't. But it was okay to dream about those. Mm-hmm. That's what it was. I think that's why it made it so awesome. It was the Mustangs. I said earlier that the Corvette was that pinnacle, and if you saw and you were like, wow.
Yeah,
but it was never awesome. A young guy's car. It was always an older guy's car.
Yeah, the ones that could afford it. That's what it was.
Yeah.
You didn't know anybody in high school that drove. At least I didn't. That drove a Vet or anybody in their 20s. And then there was that occasional guy, maybe in the early 30s, like, well, he's got a Vet. Like, what does he do?
Yeah, my neighbors across the street, they had.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. He's got to be a drug dealer. No, he had the conversion van. The drug dealer. But across the street, one of them had a couple Chevelle SS's that were just absolutely beautiful. Another one had a GTO, Pontiac GTO.
Oh, yeah.
Freaking awesome. There's one that I always was trying to buy. The guy would never sell it to me. Was a black Mustang Fastback that was absolutely gorgeous. And then they had all these, when SUVs started, it wasn't really SUVs. It was the Ford Bronco 2s. Remember those small Broncos? Mm-hmm. They started doing those over, and those things were awesome too. So I was always kind of a car head because of that, the neighbors.
Yeah, I always liked. I mean, they definitely like you just rattled off a bunch of them: the GTO, the Mustang, the Camaro. All these sort of cool cars. I just never had the means to do anything. I mean,
none of us
wasn't buying a car and when like one of those now you probably could, but why would you? I mean, I shouldn't say that. I mean, some people do. I mean, I know, Brian, you still have sort of a vintage car that you like, or you have, but I don't know. When I wanted one, I didn't. Yeah, it kind of did. I mean, it would be cool to have a 1972 whatever Mustang Camaro. But honestly, I have ridden in a couple of those over the years, and they ride rough. I mean, it's a rickety.
They don't ride well.
They don't ride well, and you can't get parts, and you see them around wow, really cool.
It's just about the aesthetics. That's all it is about looking at it. I mean.
But the first time you have to crank the window down and it gets, and your arm gets tired, you're like, God damn it, why do I have this thing?
And you only drive on weekends. I say I've given up the dream, but there's a neighbor of mine that has a 67 Impala convertible. Like so many people have these old cars, which makes me crazy. It's just rotting in the driveway. How many houses have you driven by for years and years and years? These people can't part with the dream, right? I'm going to fix that. No, you're not. I'm going to fix that. So this guy, I say my dreams died I bought a boat instead. I don't know, whatever. But I'm like, I still put notes on the guy's mailbox like once a year. This has been 5 years in a row now. I see him outside. Hey, ready to sell the car? Oh, not yet. Thing hasn't.
He never moves it.
It's moved twice. It's moved twice in the last 2 years. All this snow we've had, all this just sits in. It's out in the yard. It's covered, which is just the worst sitting out there. It's just gonna rot into the ground.
Yep.
One day it's gonna be like. The whole suspension's going to drop and it's going to rust down. He's like, hey, you interested? No, right. I'm good. But no, the dream, the dreams pretty much die, but I don't mind looking at them.
One car I'd like to own again. I had one, and it wasn't a pristine one. I had a pretty beat one, but it was a Datsun 280Z, a two-seater. It was the Japanese stole that shape from Ferraris, a Ferrari 250 GTO. If you look at that car, it's basically the Datsun 280Z.
Those
but it was
were
an
slick,
inline
for sure.
6, like 200 horsepower. It was a 4-speed. That thing screamed. I used to get into so much trouble in that freaking thing.
Did you buy? Was it new or used?
Oh, it was used. It was. I was a senior in high school.
Oh, okay.
It was a 70. It was a 78, I think, and this was 84. So this thing was already, 6 years old. So of course the floorboards are all rotted out, just from all the salt and shit. But yeah. So I think it was like the day after we graduated from high school, I was on 495 doing 120 miles an hour in that thing.
Attaboy.
And I said to the kid in the car with me, because it was two-seater, it was Nick. I go, hey, Nick, look at the mirror. He goes, what? All 3 lanes were state troopers coming behind us. Pulled us over. You in a rush, boys? I'm like, yeah, we're just trying to get to the beach. They searched the car. They were looking. They're like, why were you doing that? I'm like, I was just trying to get to the beach. They're like, all right, you'll get a summons. I got.
How about because I can?
Yeah. But they figured I had drugs or whatever. Yeah. I had nothing. We're in shorts and T-shirts going to the beach. But yeah, that car was dangerous.
What's the fastest you guys have gone in the car?
144.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have a winner.
That was in my vet.
I broke 100 with Kevin a couple of years ago in one of his cars coming home from the Bruins game that night. We were going pretty fast. That was fantastic. I think I've done 120.
I've done one. I touched 127, I think, on 495. It might have been 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
But I had a medical emergency, officer.
I did it on a Sunday morning between my exit on 495 and 93. I mean, I picked the time to do it. I'm like,
giant thoroughfares in Massachusetts. If anybody doesn't know, 495 is a 4 or 5 lane behemoth.
Like Z-rated tires, so the tires, you're not doing it in a beater. You're not trying to go over 100 miles an hour in a beater with retreads, because you'll blow a tire and go off the road. So
retreads.
This was in the vet. What year is the vet?
2000.
And did you could you feel any shimmy at 140? Whatever. It was just a nice. Going. You were just a bullet.
Yeah, it's 6-speed. Wow. 6-speed. You're doing. It's like 2.5 RPMs at 85 in 6th gear. I mean, it's got a lot of room.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, never again.
And did you run out of curiosity? Did you run out of runway, or did you feel like 144 was just as fast as you wanted to go? Was there more giddy up that you could have gone for?
There was definitely more there, and I think it was. I was getting up to my exit. I'm like, that's good enough. Been there, done that.
So while we're on this, what's the stupidest thing you've done in a car? I'm not saying driving fast is stupid. That car can do it, but like this, and I was talking about this earlier. Like the difference between crazy and dumb is it didn't end up well. Crazy was you just crazy is that you got away with it. Like, I was never really that. I did some crazy things. I mean, for some reason, I love to drive through. Like if there was like a park or something, I drove through it in my car. I don't know why. I drove through things, over things, around things. If there was a shortcut and it was just across some open space, I was probably a few deep. But I think that was more. I was afraid of everything growing up. That was probably more post-college. I drove through the quad at school and stuff a couple times. Nice. I drove things like that, but never really anything super crazy that ended up. Except the one time,
did you streak through the quad or just drive through the quad?
I was telling these guys I was in a car with somebody and we went on a frozen lake, and because somebody else had done it, and then we were on this frozen lake, and I remember looking to my right, and there was open water under this bridge.
Oh my God!
And I was like, "We need to go." Like, we need to go. Like, we're doing a donut. I'm like, we need to go. We need to go get off the lake. And so I was pretty scared then.
Yeah, it's not Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. It's a Chevelle. It's the Coronet.
It doesn't float. What's the dumbest thing, craziest thing you've done? Come on, you got to have something.
Maybe it was good that our cars didn't go very fast, but there was a kid when Brian and I were growing up There was a kid whose dad was in construction. He was absolutely loaded. We went to college with a kid that was similar, so just you can interchange the names here. But his dad would always buy him the best cars, and we were maybe 19, I think, 18 or 19. And you shouldn't have a car that goes that fast, and it shouldn't be new. And like you're saying, Brian, no shimmy, no shake. There's nothing.
Right.
Like we almost had like governors in our cars, because if you'd go over a certain speed, things would start rattling. You'd be worried that something was going to fall off the dashboard.
Shit was falling
It was like
off.
built-in safety, right? Your parents didn't have to worry about you speeding because the car couldn't go fast.
Right.
But he was driving. It was an IROC Z.
Sure.
And we were driving on the Lowell connector, and we went to get onto Route 495, and he said, whoops, I made a mistake. He pulled the emergency brake in between the bucket seats. He spun the car. We went back the wrong way on 495 to get to Route 3, and I thought we were going to die. Did the same thing when we got to the exit. Now think about it. You're going the wrong way on 495. Right. He pulls the emergency brake again to get, because now the exit where you would have gotten off is like a 90-degree, turn going back the other direction. We got onto Route 3, went up to Drum Hill. We ended up going back into Drake It, and I got out of the car, and I thought I would never do that again. It was fun. I mean, the way that you drive,
it's crazy.
Because you lived.
It would have been dumb. It was fun because you lived. It's crazy. It was fun. But if it had turned out bad, it would have been stupid. That was dumb. That was stupid, right?
Yep. It dodged a bullet.
I think I lied before when I was saying I didn't do anything dumb. I had a car that broke down on the side of the highway once, and it was on the way to school, and it broke down, and I just left it. And I remember hitchhiking to school, and I left the car there. And then the next day I had the bright idea that somebody was going to push me with their car to like the great. I don't know why I didn't get a towed if I didn't have the money or whatever it was. So it was a Ford Escort, and so this person's pushing me, and I'm in like my hazards on. I'm in the breakdown lane. I don't remember the order of events or what happened, but it was going swimmingly. You know how you turn the key and it locks the ignition, it locks the steering wheel, something like that. I don't remember what happened. I hit something, did something. I went from the breakdown lane into the traffic lane, got hit by an 18-wheeler, ended up in the back seat of my car, and I thought I was going to die. So I think that was pretty stupid. Yeah, so that's my.
I think that qualifies. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm going to connect the story. I have another one. I'm going to connect the story. That same guy that Mark was talking about. We love you if you do listen to this. I was driving his car. I was not drinking, but everybody else was. And we stop at a light, and he kicks the door open for some reason at the light. And a car comes by and just fucking wails. And I'm just like, what are you doing? And the guy in the car next to us is like, oh my God. Like he thought somebody was going to get out. Like this person was, I don't know what the hell he was thinking or what he was doing. And I'm like, pull over. So the guy, we were at a stop at a light. The guy, I'm in the middle lane. The guy pulls over. I take off, right? And I'm just like, I'm not doing this. We pull up the next thing. I make him drive. It was his car. So I made him, because I was driving his car because these guys were drinking. So I'm like, you're driving. I'm not getting in trouble for this. I'll get in trouble for opening the door. So I made him drive his car, like with the door, and I'm holding the door shut, driving home.
Oh my God.
Did you put the door in the back seat like Smokey and the Bandit?
His dad owned an auto body shop. It was fantastic. He just fixed it.
His dad had an ultimate set of tools.
Oh, he did. His dad was.
I think Mark was going with Junior. Put the evidence in the back of the car.
His dad was awesome.
So I'll tell you one. There's just a 2 seconds worth of backstory, just to level set the second part of the story. So in the 70s, you guys may remember, this is a Smokey and the Bandit-esque sort of reference too. CB radios were kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. Do you guys remember when CB were they were in movies, they were TV shows. With Smokey and the Bandit, and there's the guy, the truck, Breaker One Night. So in the brown bomber, aka the Ford Fairmont, the poop brown colored car. We had a CB radio at the house and an antenna on the chimney, and then we became driving age. My brother, God love him, thought it would be a good idea, and I was on this. We said, we'll put this in the car, and so that way we'll have when we're on road trips or whatever. We're not breaker, breaker one night. And so this is what you did when you were, I think we put it in before we could drive, and the thing sat there, and it didn't really get a lot of use. But there was a switch on the CB that had a PA switch. And so he got a bullhorn, like one of those big bullhorns, and mounted it, because there's lots of room in the engine, unlike today. Lift the hood, and he mounted it on the side underneath the hood and put a wire to the CB, and you flip the switch onto PA, and you had a bullhorn underneath the hood of the car. So, you could driving around town and do all kinds of stupid shit, and nobody knew where it was coming from because you've got a get a hot mic, you got the CD thing in your hand, and and Carl, I don't know if you remember this, like you would have known.
I've been in that car. I do not remember.
So this was so that's the backstory. So now we went to and this doesn't happen anymore either, really. Big opening movie night in a movie theater. Like this was a big thing. If there was Star Wars, it was like Return of the Jedi, Back to the Future, Ghostbusters, one of these big, there might have been 2 big movies opening, like July 4th weekend up, and we're from Massachusetts. This is up at the Woburn movie theater, which was the big, multiplex. And so there's, I'm up there with some of my buddies, and I think we were, probably maybe not in our rightest of minds at the time. I'm driving the car.
The beginning
and we're
of
sitting in
every
the
car
parking
story.
lot, and there's just huge lines of people all queuing up to get into these movies. And there's a guy in a vest, the big red vest with a bullhorn. He's the usher. He's out there doing crowd control, and he's got the bullhorn in his hand. He's going, the 7 p.m., 9:15, and 11:26 shows for Return of the Jedi are sold out. And then we would get on the thing, and I go, disregard that. We have plenty of tickets left, and I got the volume all the way up, and mine's louder than his. And we're just at the movie theater saying, plenty of seats. In fact, free popcorn to the next 100 people that want to rush the game. And the guy's looking around like, where the fuck is this coming from? You can't see us. You can't tell that there's a bullhorn in the hood of the car. And so we just play with this guy. And he's like, the 7, the 9, and the 11 on shows of Back to the Future and Return. They're all sold out. We're like, no. Plenty of tickets, free soda for any women who want to come up and give me a kiss. Like, whatever it was, we would and then laugh our asses off. And we did that, a couple of times. It wore off after a while.
Good, clean fun.
Good, clean.
Yes,
That's
good, clean fun.
hilarious.
Yeah. And it ties into the movie theater, the movie episode, which for those of you who haven't listened to the movie episode, that's a good one too. And then I'll just this is another quick one, real quick. One of the guys I was with, he had no fear of embarrassment. And so if you bought him the largest of large popcorns, and a movie ticket, he would go in with a giant popcorn, and he would call, he'd be like, looking for you, Mark. And he'd walk from the top in the middle of the movie. Mark, guys. And he'd walk slowly all the way down to the front and then trip himself on purpose. And the large popcorn would fly up in the air, and then he would just run out the emergency exit to the front. And the whole place would crack up because he would torture everybody. Everybody's like, shut up, sit down. And so anyway, we had lots of fun at the movies without actually going to the movies. I pass it off to you guys. Go ahead.
That's hilarious.
That's awesome.
That's great.
The cars were just awesome, though. I mean, it was just never mind the music, and you think about the playing the music in your cassettes, right? Who didn't have you had the cassette player. You made it. I remember one time came to visit you guys up in Lowell, and I got the deck. Somebody jammed a screwdriver in the side of my car, popped the lock, and stole my stupid stereo out of it. Not only did they steal the stereo, which was under the seat, they would never know it was there. They stole the whole thing that went with it.
And your bag of weed?
No, there was no bag of weed in there.
Oh, okay, sorry.
That was the only one nice.
That was probably
car
somebody else.
It was that was an older BMW. I love that car. That was the nicest thing I had at the time.
A BMW? Was it?
It was like a 320i. It was like an older version, like
Nice.
an 80 or something. That was fantastic. Love that car. Back when people drove stick shifts. Does anybody drive a stick these days? Do they still exist? I want to. Kevin, throw your kid in a stick shift. I want to see what they do. I want to just see any kid.
I don't want to see someone try it that doesn't know how to do it.
I don't think they'd even understand it. Yeah.
I've seen a T-shirt that basically says it's it looks like a 5-speed in reverse, and it's basically saying this is the lock for the car because no one can fucking drive it.
Yeah, I can leave it wide open with the windows down. Nobody's going to be able to steal this thing.
Like I said, the Vet's a 6-speed. 6-speed was pretty nice.
They had
Do you
low
still drive
jack
it?
back in the day.
No,
Now they have...
it needs a clutch. It's been in the garage for 3 years.
It's rotting in the driveway.
It's in the garage.
All the other people that
Sell it to the guy in the Cape that has the Impala. He probably needs another car. Carlo,
Did anyone ever drive a 3 on the tree?
My dad had that. That
We had a
was,
Ford
I have.
I
F-150.
never knew how that worked.
That's how I learned how to drive.
Up top?
Yeah. Second gear was like this.
Oh, yeah, no.
Right in
I know
your
what you mean,
face.
but I haven't driven one, yeah.
It was crazy.
He used to
My
drive us
girlfriend in
around.
high school had a VW, not high school, college, had a VW Beetle, and it was a 3-speed
Yeah.
on the floor.
They all were.
It could only go 22 miles an hour. You only needed 3 speeds.
It was, driving that thing was bananas.
Was it 2-cylinder too? What was the size engine? Those they were tiny.
I don't
It was
know. Yeah, they were.
4, but it was in the rear.
Rear engine, yeah. The other thing with that Ford F-150 was it was no power steering too. So can you
oh my
imagine?
God.
It was like a bigger wheel because you had to like
Popeye
get
arms
over
trying to
it,
drive
and then
that thing.
slamming it into second. Like it was a battle. You get out of there, you worked out.
So I have a question for you guys. So what's with the cars and guys? Like I think cars are the loving of cars and everything. Is it the power thing? It's a male thing, right? I just feel like that can women have these same conversations as women?
Sure.
Listen, I don't know. But do you have like what was your favorite car? Like the Beetle? I don't know. Like for the men, it's always that something that has
Muscle car.
way more power than you'll ever need.
Yeah.
I just it's very interesting to me.
I think to guys, cars are, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, they're sexy. Like that's, like some of your identity was probably wrapped up in that car. Like the guy that you were talking about, Carlo, that, opened the door into traffic. Like the car was his thing. Like everybody knew he had a nice car.
Yeah.
He drove it a little crazily, but that was your identity. Well, not the POSs that we all had, but the people that had nicer cars.
Yeah. It's
Well, I think I was never the handiest guy around cars. I don't know how to really fix them, do a lot of stuff with them. But I think that for those that do, there's something about buy it cheap, fix it up, make it cool, and then you can point to the sweat equity that you put into it and say like I turned that POS into something that I'm proud of.
The guys just do all the body work with
Yeah,
the
there's
Bondo,
something
and they
to that for
sand it
sure.
down and prime it and paint it, and
But you could, but the car, but you're not doing that to a Honda Accord
No.
or whatever. After
No.
that, now the whole concept of that, I think, is just gone. Right?
Yeah.
There's nobody's fixing up that car because they're like, it's just.
In fact, quite the
it's
opposite.
just
If you take a factory, like whatever car it is, and you do stuff to it, it's weird.
yeah.
Like it looks silly, but
It came back a little, I think, with the Subarus. Was it the Subarus? They've been amping up the last few years. There's a little more car culture out there, but it is mostly on those.
I think you probably need to be an engineer now to do anything to a car. When we were kids, the reason that you were putting Bondo on the car is because it was rusting away. The floorboards, like we all joke about that. I used to have to scrape the inside of my windshield because the floors were rotted out. So there was as much moisture inside the car as outside the car. So you'd have to-
100%.
They were just such a mess. But all the work that we were talking about that we did on cars was out of necessity because you'd be lucky. You'd get a car at maybe 60,000. You'd hope you'd make it to 70,000. Now cars have all of these features and they're built to go 200,000 or 300,000 miles. And there's no need. Nobody wants to fix. Not only can you not do it because you'd need to be an aeronautic engineer,
a NASA
to do
tech.
there you go, Kevin. Thank you. Yeah, to do anything to the engine, you don't need to. They made it perfectly in an assembly line somewhere. We had to do it because it was made by the drunk guy on Friday at the Ford plant in Dearborn, Michigan, that was just looking to get out of there and cash his check, grab his lunch pail, and if you bought that car, God save you. It was gonna
100,000
be a
miles, though,
nightmare.
Mark. Yeah, to your point, 100,000. I was like, wow, it made it to 100,000. Holy cow!
And now,
raise your hand if you got splashed you were either driving the car or in the car when it went over a puddle. And
Absolutely.
water came up
through the floorboard. Yeah.
Absolutely,
Oh,
100%.
yeah. My Z was like a Fred Flintstone mobile. You could basically run, and a passenger could run.
Well, and I said, I wasn't very handy with cars, but my brother was always much handier. And so I don't know how many starters he's replaced over the years. Like the starter motor would somehow, and you get a rebuilt starter and you put it in. And so it was my prom night, and I had to take the brown bomber. I mean, this is the vehicle. This is the chariot that is taking us to the prom night, senior prom. And my brother, the starter motor went, and the day before, so he's like, I'll go in. I'll get a rebuilt starter. I'll put it. And I started telling him, if I'm taking the car tonight to the prom, so if you can't fix it, I'll have to make other arrangements. He said, no, I got it. I got it. So he does it, and then so we go to the prom. I'm driving. I got the date up the front seat. I got my buddy in the back seat, and his date with him, and we get to the prom, and she looks down at her dress, and there's an enormous oil stain on the bottom of her dress, the size, I'm holding my hands up, it's got to be the size of a football. Because she sat with her long gown dangling on the floorboard where my brother put the oily starter motor that he took out of the car, and he didn't clean it. And so so her night was ruined. She's like, I can't believe you did this to me. I'm like, and so I looked at my buddy, Vin, who you guys know. I wouldn't mention their last names, but I'm like, dude, I'm really sorry. He's like, dude, she's my date for the prom. I don't know how this is gonna go. I don't really care. Let's go. And so I'm like, okay, if you don't care, I don't care. But there was something to fixing your car. I mean, again, I couldn't do it. I helped, but I didn't think to clean the friggin' oil stain out of the back of the car. Ruined her dress. Anyway.
Kevin, you mentioned about not being able to do that. I never really worked on a car either myself, but I do remember this. My dad had this mechanic, and the mechanic was across, Mark knows this guy, he was across from junior high school, Wally. He was on the corner. And what he used to do, I'd bring my Chevy Malibu up there and go, hey, the motor for the windshield wiper's broken. He'd go, all right, go to the junkyard, and you can take it from this type of car, this type of car, this type of car. Here's the tools. Take it out and bring it to me. And so
that's awesome.
I would go get parts, so he would do it for just labor. It was crazy.
I have a good story about the floorboard rotting. So again, I was hard on cars. I ruined a bunch of cars. God bless my parents. But at college, I've always worked. I used to wait tables on the weekends, and I rushed from school. It was like, I don't know, 45 minutes, an hour away, whatever. And you had to wear the white shirt, a little bow tie, and all my things. And I rushed to my job at the restaurant. And I get out of the car and I shut the door, and I'm like, I just locked the keys in the car, and it was running. And it was running, right? And so I'm like, God, I remembered the floors were rotting. I laid down on the ground. I reached my hand through the floorboard, and I shut the car off. And
change the radio station while you were in there?
The thing I was worried most about was like, am I going to get my shirt dirty? Like, there was not even a thought like, oh, what's going to happen? Like, I was just like, I remember pushing around a lot. I kind of pushed my hand through there, and I'm like, no, that didn't work. And I came up, and I had to go underneath it with my left hand because I could reach more that way where the ignition was. And then I pulled, and I got the keys out, and I went to work after that.
That is so classic.
crazy.
And to think about bringing this full circle, so we could reach through the floorboards of our car, and you just failed a Massachusetts state safety inspection because your license plate light was out. Yeah, you could fall. You could literally fall through the floorboards of all of our first cars, and that was fine.
That's a great connect the dots moment, Mark. That's great. That is amazing. Holy crap.
That's my favorite car. My Chevy Tahoe right now is my favorite car. I never, like you were saying, never had those awesome cars. I'm still dreaming about it, but
So what's your dream car? Like, what's the one that if you suddenly you won the lottery, and you had money with no object, you could have anything you wanted. What's the one? And I mean within reason, like
Ferrari type of thing.
Yeah, like whatever. Yeah. Like, what's the one
you asking me? If you're asking,
I'm asking everybody.
My neighbor used to have this Buick Wildcat. And I saw this, and it's like the Bonneville Impala thing. And I'm like, I don't remember seeing a lot of them. And it was this convertible. And I think it was a neighbor because it was my father's friend, whoever it was. But I'm like, I just saw that. I'm like, it's probably the first one I've seen live and up close and got to touch. And I'm like, and I never remember seeing many of them since. Like, so I was like, I really like that. I'm not saying that was maybe back then. Like, this money's no object. I think Ferrari would be like trite. I think if I had all the money, I think I'd probably go for some type of older American. Brian like talking about the Chevelles of the world.
Like a classic kind of a car.
Yeah, something classic. I think I'd have to go.
Yeah.
See, I love those fastback mushrooms, but Mustangs. I think I'd need a Mustang. I think, but it would have to be a convertible. And so I had when I turned 40-ish. There was a car rotting up the street. It was a 1969 Plymouth Barracuda convertible. And it just sat there, and I walked the dog past it day after day after day. And I did exactly what I put the note on. And they're like, I guess the rule out there is if you're going to buy a fixer-upper, buy the one that needs the least amount of fixing-upping because you have to put a lot of work in. So this thing was beat. Got it on the road and drove it like 5 times, but it was just awesome. And then it rotted on my lawn, and I sold it this Sunday. So I don't know what my dream car would be. I have to think about that. What do you guys get?
Well, before we go on to the dream car, you made me think of something. My son, when before he got his license, he was 15, and he was like, "Dad, I was just looking on. Think about like what kind of car would you want? If you get your license someday, we talk about it." And he says, "He's like, I was online. It's a Lamborghini. It needs work, but you can get it for $9,000." He's like, "But you'd have to fix it." And I'm like, okay, you've known me for 15 years. Have you ever seen me with my head under a hood? I don't know how to fix a Lamborghini. I don't know how to do any of that crap. Why do you think suddenly I want to buy you a $1,000 Lamborghini that needs some work? I get how much a friggin' hubcap costs on a Lamborghini?
You know how much an oil change costs?
Yeah.
Oil change is like $5,000.
Keep looking. Anyway.
Speaking of like exotic cars like that, so there's something I've done that I think everyone has to do it at least once. Out in Vegas, there's a track that's about a half hour outside of Vegas. It's called Exotic Racing. And they've got like a mile and a quarter track, and you can basically take out whatever car you want to take out. So I've driven the Ferrari 488. Absolute blast. Like, so much freaking fun.
I'm dying to do that since you told me about it. Yeah.
Porsche GT3. Unbelievable. Just awesome. The power in these things is just insane. I mean,
And how fast have you had those? I mean, more
like
than
130. No,
Oh, really?
130. Yeah.
So you
Do you
drive
take
your
them
own
by
car
yourself?
faster?
Wait, do you take them up by yourself, or do you have?
No,
somebody with
you have
there?
an instructor with you.
But you're
And
driving.
There's rules. Yeah, they'll grab the steering wheel if you're coming up on someone or someone's coming up on you. They tell you to lay off the gas, and there's a signaling and pattern that they do. But they do a good job of keeping it going, and they let you really get on it. And they push you, too. It's great. It's a lot of fun.
This guy I knew had a Porsche, and I worked in the restaurant and kind of family friend or whatever. And one day, I don't know how this ever transpired, but he's like, "Hey, can you drive my Porsche home?" And I was like, "Me?" And I was like, it was a 930 something, whatever it was, this big one. And I'm like, "Me?" And I'm like, "All right." I'm like, "Sure." I'm like, "Okay." I was never so scared driving somebody else's car because I was doing like 55 on the highway. I was afraid. It was like every now and then I go, like I'm just shifting. I'm like, oh my God, it was unbelievable.
Oh, it was manual?
Yeah, that was the nicest car I probably drove.
Kevin and Brian are disappointed that you
I
never
know.
got out of
You guys
third
keep
gear.
going.
The two of them are jonesing.
I
that
feel
they
like it's a
could've
missed
Brian
opportunity.
Kevin does 100 every day just for fun. Brian too.
Well, so you said, I mean, we'll talk about the dream car, but there's something about the power of driving. I don't know, fast. I think that's part of the man thing. I never do it when my wife's in the car. I always get the fucking side eye. Why slow down? How are you doing it? Why are you doing it? But when I'm by myself, good sound effects. Huh?
That's very nice. What you guys aren't talking about? What else? The
Mark,
dumbest
what's
thing
the
you've
dream
done?
car?
What's the dream car? What's the dumbest thing you've done? Come on.
I think I have a dream car. Like I feel like a car is just a necessary evil. I think I bought maybe 2 new cars in my life. It's got to get you from point A to point B. I'm none of that allure. I don't know that there's a car that I really want to get, and there's nothing from when we were kids. I feel like that connection that people have to cars. Like my dad, I don't know if I ever hit it big, maybe I'll buy him one. He wants a 57 Ford because to him, that was the car. So he's always thought about that. That is his first car that he had, that it went like a bat out of hell. People would stop and look at it. It was fast. So, I feel like there's got to be some connection to a car too. That you're going to want. If it's those old cars that people are working on, it's because it brings them back to another time in their
nostalgia.
life. I think it's nostalgia. Just transporting them back to a simpler time.
Watch that car auction. What is it? The one in Arizona there? What is it?
Barrett,
whatever. They're selling everything, and if they're not
Barrett
even that
Jackson,
expensive.
yeah.
There's so many cars out there that they're selling everything out there.
All right. I got
What's
a
the dream
question.
car, Brian?
Dream car would be that Datsun 280Z. Okay. I'd love to have that again.
Mine's quick. I'd take an Aston Martin Vanquish. I would just
Those are pretty hot.
Yeah, and I'd look good driving it. Just so you know.
So, Kevin, question for you: Did you ever drive a minivan?
A minivan.
Yeah. Did you have a minivan?
I
did not. So
I know where this is going.
Right.
So-
I have one child. No need of a minivan.
Right.
SUVs, yes.
So the
minivan,
other
no.
2 panelists here have gone to the dark side and driven minivans, and not just one, a couple minivans, each of them.
Yes.
I could never.
Congratulations.
The only new car I've ever purchased in my 60 years of existence are 2 minivans. I've never had a new car for myself.
Did you get the Cadillac
Never.
minivans? The one with the nice
No.
sliding?
We had the Honda Odyssey at the time. It was pretty cool. We had the Honda Odyssey. Then we had the Plymouth Voyager, which was like this industrial.
Ooh, that's a
van
nice
with
one.
bucket seats, yeah. So I've never had a new car. I know we haven't talked about that yet either, and why car buying sucks. But never had a new car. But we got the first 2 things the only 2 ones I bought were the minivan. The Honda Odyssey was the bomb, man. It was awesome. It was great. These bucket seats, and it was awesome. Make it to 70 miles an hour was fantastic.
Downhill.
No, it wasn't that bad.
We were SUVs. I never could pull the trigger on a minivan. We always did Jeep Grand Cherokees. We had a Toyota
How many kids do you
Sequoia.
have though? 3, 2. So I think
3 kids.
I
in
think
gear.
3 is the break point.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think
Maybe
you're
I'm
right.
wrong.
I think you're
Absolutely.
right.
Yep. Sports
Absolutely.
equipment.
Yeah.
Sliding doors on both sides of the thing,
Friends.
so they could just load
You
in.
can separate them.
Yep.
There was space. Somebody goes in the way back. 1 or 2 kids go in the way back. You could definitely do that. So I'm sorry. I apologize for my minivan purchase. It's not too late for me to get a new car. Maybe I'm not. I'm unemployed right now. So I think that ship is totally sailed.
But what's a new car go for now? It's at least what, 50 grand? I mean, they're not selling
Depends
cars.
what you're going to get, but yeah, I mean, you could.
But
probably
they're not
get one
selling
for
cars
40.
at 30 grand. I mean, what does a Honda Accord go for right now? Probably 35,
I have
40
to look
grand,
it up.
right?
It's got to be way more than that. It's got to be 40-ish. It has to be.
To
But they all
me,
have
that's like
different
the
versions of
basic. If
everything.
you had to buy a basic car for like an older person and they needed a car, it'd be a Honda Accord or a Toyota Camry.
Most of our cars
Starting
were
like
hand-me-downs,
base model
but
Honda. Sorry.
most of our cars were hand-me-downs. But Brian, what'd you pay? Do you remember what you paid for your 280Z?
Like $3,700,
There
which
you
was
go.
a lot. I was a senior in high school.
Honda Accord base price $28,400
Oh, all right.
up to $40,000.
Yeah, so 35 by the time you get done.
Yeah.
And I feel like with the non-awesome cars that we have, I feel like everybody drove your car too. It was like, hey, I remember once, after college or whatever, I don't remember what happened to my car. I lent my keys to somebody and somebody else dropped it off. It went through the cycle, went through the rinse cycle. A couple different people got it. And and it ended up in my front lawn in my house. And my mother's like, why is the car on the lawn? I'm like, I don't know. I think I gave
great
it to
question,
Brian.
Mom.
And then I call him. I'm like, why is my car on my front lawn? He's like, I don't know. I gave it to somebody else.
Driveway was full.
Yeah.
They thought that was.
Mom, that's a
good
great
place.
question. The question you really want to ask is who put it there? Because it wasn't me.
Yeah.
It wasn't me. Well, it definitely wasn't me. So I have another ridiculous story about cars. This is really jogging my memory. We went to a Bruins game, and I hate to admit this, but we were fair moderately intoxicated. We couldn't find our way out of the parking garage.
I know which garage you're talking about.
And we just couldn't get out. So I had this big LTD, and I ended up driving out the inn and through the arm, bang, off the roof, smashed right through the thing because we had to go.
You drove down the corkscrew, right?
Yes,
The corkscrew,
we
yeah.
couldn't
Out
get
through the
out of
indoor?
the stupid. Yes, it was bad. It was. Like, I hate to admit that, but many moons ago, I would
Government
never do that
Center
today.
garage. Government
That's
Center
exactly what it
garage.
was.
Yeah, I know
We
exactly.
could not get out.
Yeah,
We were just
because
like-
they kept changing it. They changed like every week.
Yes, and the four of us had the brain power of, I don't know what at that point, and like at 1 or 2 in the morning, we just could not do it. It was like, go left, no, go right, go left. We're already here. We just Big Ben Parley, we just going around in a circle. It was unbelievable, and how we didn't get stopped on the way home, but that's what we did. There was
No
Uber back
cameras and
then.
no
Uber,
cops.
no cameras, no cops.
What was the first car you bought for yourself? I mean, we talked about the cars that you first drove, which were probably the family hand-me-down, whatever. What was the first one you put money down and bought on your own?
Grand Cherokee.
Oh yeah, nice.
I bought a Ford Probe, which was the
bet you
first
looked
model
great
year.
in that, too. I
the
bet you
first
looked
model year that
fantastic.
it came out, and this is
Those
probably
were sharp.
something that we've all heard after the fact is don't buy the first model year. It used to gather water in the spare tire well. So I ended up taking a pistol drill and just drilling a hole in it because you'd be driving around and you'd hear the sloshing. The water would somehow come down like the track or into the tail lights, and it would all find its way to the spare tire well that was in the back of the car. And they could never fix it, so I just drilled a hole in it, and that way I never had to worry about the water splashing out of it. But it was kind of anticlimactic. I thought I was getting this nice new car, and it had a lot of problems. It
They were
was
very
not what I thought it was.
futuristic when they first came out. I thought they were a very cool, sharp car.
What
One
about
of
you,
the
Kevin? What was
stupid
your first
reasons,
car?
I know Brian is probably going to get a kick out of this because he's a Corvette guy, is that when you put the headlights on, they would pop up, and they would recess into the car.
Ooh.
So I maybe thought it was like a poor man's Corvette or something.
Yeah,
But
I get it.
that was
Yeah.
one of the things that unfortunately influenced my buy.
And the problem with those is, especially in the model I have, the C5s, is the motors, they have like a plastic wheel that turns to open and shut. Well, that wears down. So then when you turn it on, they don't lift. You hear the motors, but they won't lift up. So you have to literally pop the hood and manually crank the headlights up.
Struggle is real for
Yeah.
Corvette owners.
Yep.
Kevin, what was yours?
So I've always had a thing for fast cars, sports cars. I always wanted one, and so I wound up buying a Nissan, and I don't make them anymore. Nissan 240 SX, and it was a
Oh, yeah.
5-speed
Wow.
crank window, brand new, 5-speed crank windows, no AC. And I had my brother with me at the time, and I, for those of you who don't know, I work in the finance area, so I'm pretty good with numbers and math. I knew what I could afford to pay and what my car payment, what I could afford. I was paying rent. I had, so I did I had my whole budget, and I figured $200 a month was going to be my budget for a car payment. That's all I could afford, and if I couldn't do it, So with this car, and I didn't go in to buy this car. I went in looking at something else, and I'm like, oh, geez, this is pretty nice. And they're like, well, we have an automatic, we have air conditioning, we have power windows. I'm like, how much is that? And I do the math. I'm like, that's way too much. So the one I could afford, and I wound up stretching my budget. I remember this because it was a big deal, right? These are the things you remember. It was $206 was going to be the monthly car payment, and it was $6 over my budget. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it. And the guy's like,
when was that? Okay, can I back up to when was that? That was a lot of money.
1992.
Yeah,
1992. So I'm 4 years out of college, and I was buying my first new car, and it was a big deal. And it had, rear wheel drive. And for those of you who don't know, we live in New England. So 5-speed, no AC, crank windows, brand new car, rear wheel drive. And the guy's like, for an extra $1,000, we could put AC and power windows in for you. And I'm like, how much is that going to add? So I did the car. It was going to be like $237 for the car. I'm like, I'm already over my budget. 6 is the max. And that's how I bought. And then I probably drove her for like 2 or 3 years. And then I wound up getting rid of it. But it was fun as shit to drive. 5-speed. It was fun.
Just not in the winter.
That's when it's
Horrible in
really
the snow.
fun.
I would get stuck on an incline that was greater than about 2 degrees. Put 3 snowflakes on the road and a 2-degree incline, and my car go just spin.
I used to put weight in the back of my 280Z in the winter.
Sure.
Just to get
Same.
some weight on the rear tires.
I'm going to take back my answer about not knowing. I think if I had to get another car now, I'd probably get a new Tahoe. I'm going to say it's my dream car, but if I could, I'd probably just get another one. I really liked it. I really love it. I had a bad back, and the thing was like driving your couch. And you could, and it was just, it feared no snow around here. You put a foot of snow on, it's like, I drive right through that. It was just, it's an awesome vehicle. Like, I loved it. I loved how big it was. I loved it. And it's the 8-cylinder pig in that thing. It's just a truck engine, right? I love that. I'm stomping on it. It's like, I'd probably do just get that because I'm too old to risk killing myself driving fast.
Talking
So a
about
new
going
Tahoe.
through snow. Good.
90,000.
60 to 80, depending on what you want to put in it.
Yeah, it's such a great car. But you guys have been in my car, and our other friend Brian makes fun of me because I clean out the back of my car with a leaf blower. Suffice it to say, I'm not. Dogs back there, beach sand, leaves. It goes to the dump. It's just got.
But guess so what would 2026 new one is 60 to 80. Buy one that's got turned in lease 20,000
Right.
miles on it, 30,000 miles on it. Get a couple of years old. It's gonna be brand new to you. It's just
a game now. I'm just waiting. I'm just gonna drive this thing till it dies. I love it.
agreed. But when it dies,
Oh yeah, no, I get
you
it.
also what's the average life that you hold your car for? 8, 10, 12
The rest of my existence at
Exactly.
this point in my life, that's what it's
I
going
get
to
a
be.
car and I hold it. I mean, I think on average it's 8 to 10 years I'll hold my cars.
Yeah.
So I'm not working now, but when I was, it was, you could justify it because it's, you're going to hold it for. You're not flipping cars every 2 to 3 years. So
Absolutely.
get something that's comfortable. I don't know. I'm not going to talk you into buying a giant Tahoe, but why not? Couple years old, low mileage.
You got to get rid of some of the other junk boxes first. Please don't.
How many cars,
anyway.
Carlo? What's
there
in
it
the
is.
fleet?
I was waiting.
How many
for
do you got?
What's in the fleet?
17.
6.
He wants to buy the vet, too.
We have 6 cars.
Plus
And
the
I'm buying
Impala, do
Brian,
you
I'm going
wanna
to buy
buy?
Brian's vet too. But the aggregate value of these 6 cars is $8,000. So just to anybody who's there, it probably is $6,000. So let's get off my car ownership out. That's the problem.
yeah.
All right.
I was going to actually talk about, you mentioned driving in the snow. We had a couple Volvos with the, all-wheel drive winter package. Those things were unbelievable. They handled better in the snow than the Jeep Cherokee ever did. They were unbelievable in the snow.
I've never had a Volvo. They're good cars.
Yeah, very nice. But they get very expensive when they break down. Super expensive very quickly. You got to get 4 or 5 years and got to get the fuck out.
You guys have to talk about, Kevin, you have fancy cars that you cannot help but go fast. I drive wife's BMW. I loved her Audi A4. That thing was a rocket. It was an S-line A4. That thing was unbelievable.
So you don't drive fast in your cars because they're older, but when you have the
I do.
built,
Yeah,
you'll punch
the
it. right?
Tahoe, the 8-cylinder, that thing, I had 885. I drive faster than that. I don't like it. It's like that. I don't mind. Yeah, but her car, you can't help it.
I know.
Yeah.
You just look at the gas pedal,
I know.
and it goes, "Let's go, baby!" But she's had a BMW, the BMW 320i that we had. It was a 6-cylinder, and it was a 2004, 8, something like that. It was fucking awesome. It was just rear-wheel drive.
Yeah.
And this thing was just fantastic. That thing hauled. That and the Audi I like the best. Her BMW 3 Series, I'm like,
I like a fast car. I'm not gonna lie.
So
I don't think. Yeah.
My former boss he just bought a new one, 600 Mercedes with the E package, so it's got electric motor in it. We were going up to Tilton to a meeting a couple months ago, and
Did he let you drive?
I'm fucking James in his car when we travel. So, and his other S600 moved too, but this thing was lightning, and it was basically electric for most of the time. So there's no RPMs going on, and you look down, you're doing fucking 100 like out of nowhere. You're like, holy shit! Like just gliding, such a smooth ride too.
I don't care. I talked about drinking and driving. I want this. You guys all have to have a crazy story. I mean, we used to drive around and drink all the time. And I remember the cops stopped us once, and we had like 2 cases of beer in the back. We broke down the boxes, took the beer, put them under our feet, threw them under the seat, and then he's like looking and like didn't even look back. Just kind of flashed a light from there. He's like, "What are you guys doing?" I'm like, "Nothing." I'm like, "We're not doing anything, officer." Just let us go. They used to let us go all the time. Like
We used to
couldn't be bothered.
Mark knows this guy. Mark knows a guy from high school he was the one who had the original 280Z, and it was actually a new one because he had gotten an insurance thing, something that happened to him when he was younger. So his parents let him buy this brand new 280Z, 1984. And so we used to cruise in that thing. And we used to go to New Hampshire, go to a liquor store that we could buy at, and we'd get a case of the Low and Brow babies. You know the baby bottle Low and Brows?
Yeah.
And we used to hide them throughout the car. Just hide them in every pocket, whatever, and throw the case out. And we would drive around and you drink it and then you throw it out the window. And no evidence. Like if you got pulled over, there was no
Littering
beer.
was encouraged then, by the way.
yeah,
not like it is
absolutely.
now.
Well, you had to throw it out before you got home.
So yeah, what's up with electric vehicles? Are you guys fans or not? Like, no. I can never wrap my head around the whole electric battery hybrid, not hybrid. It's like how this all works. I'm like, so the hybrid, you put gas in it, but sometimes you don't, and then it goes with the battery, but sometimes you don't.
Hybrid makes sense.
It sounds confusing to me. It sounds like it does. It sounds
Make up
like
your mind.
But you're charging that when you're running gas, you're actually charging the electric internally. So you don't have to plug that car in. It does its own charging out. No. And you can imagine a repair if something goes on those things. What's that freaking cost to fix something like that?
You know, my thing with the electric stuff, and I bought a car 3 years ago, and so you always have to debate like, should we or shouldn't we? Like, because this is the car I tend to hold my cars for 8 or 10 years. So am I going to be unhappy that I didn't buy an electric vehicle? But I will say, for me, give me the electric vehicle that can go 1,000 miles without getting charged. Like,
yeah,
the gas stations are everywhere. The charging fast, the rapid charges, they take 20 minutes and you get half a charge. So if you want a full charge, you got to say, I don't want to plan my day around where am I going to charge my car. I can always figure I can stop and get gas. That's not even a thought that anybody has. When you get to the point where they're more reasonably priced and you can get 1,000 miles, so I don't have to worry about, am I going to get where I'm going?
There's a mileage fear in those vehicles. There's a term for it. I can't think of it, but it's basically fear of, like, you can't go far enough.
Right. And I also think... Well, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I think as we get older, like, we're men pushing 60. When we're men pushing 70, I'm not driving as far. I'm not going on many trips. Like, maybe just if I'm putting around town, if I'm living at the Villages and I've got a golf cart, like, then I could do an electric vehicle because I'm not really worried about how far am I getting. I'm not doing a lot of long distance driving. But if I was commuting, an hour to the city every day and I forgot to charge my car or I didn't, that kind of shit. I just don't know I don't know if technology is quite there yet, nor do I think it's as affordable as it ultimately will be.
Right. I'm more excited about the autonomous driving aspect of it versus...
Describe your level of excitement.
Well, think about what a car would look like. If you have a car that can drive itself, right? It doesn't have to look like a car. It can look like a freaking living room. You could have a desk in there. You could, you could have a big, like, TV screen where you could watch movies and sit on the couch. Like, it doesn't have to have a windshield. It doesn't have to look like a freaking car.
It doesn't work, right? Because eventually it turns back into a car.
Right.
Well, the autonomous stuff is coming. I don't know if anybody's ready for it. I think so. This is an interesting thing. People our age, I think, are going to have a tough time letting go of the freedom of the personal vehicle. And we talked about, like, guys like driving fast. Like, when you have the autonomous vehicle, you can't tell it, like, hey, do 144 on the highway. It won't. Right. But I think the younger generation, I don't think they're going to have a hard time letting go of the driving thing. I think it's just a nuisance to them. They didn't grow up with it like we did. So I think it's going to be, for us, it's going to be a harder give. That's my opinion.
Are they going to have shows, and the people with the electric cars gonna be like, "Ooh, that's a 1995 Tesla. Come look at my battery." Like they looked at. They're all gonna sit in the parking lot of the local supermarket on a Saturday with their hoods open. Like, look at my battery. Wow, you had that? That's awesome.
I've always talked about like the autonomous idea is you get in your autonomous car in the morning, you take it into, say you're going into Boston, you get to work, you get out of your car, you say, okay, go work as an Uber until 5 o'clock and
Right.
pick me up.
Yep.
So thing that goes around, picks people up, drops them off, goes and gets gas, picks you up at 5, comes home. You get home, you say, you know what? Go work for another 3 hours and then come back.
Yeah, absolutely right. That's exactly what's going to happen, I think.
Really?
Your car's going to be making you money.
But I think
Instead of
there's going to
costing
be
you money.
the fleets are going to be Uber and Tesla are going to have these massive fleets of autonomous cars that are going to do
Both of which I own stock in both of those companies. I think there's the upside on both of those is going to be huge.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's 5 years, 10 years, but Tesla's going to have a robot army before we know it. It's going to look like Star Wars.
Probably already do.
President Musk.
Well, again, we're off topic here, but there's a lawsuit going on right now between Musk and Tesla and OpenAI and Sam Altman. That's got like testifying is happening like this week. It's just starting, so fascinating stuff.
It was supposed to be a non-profit company, and he turned it into a for-profit.
Yep.
Suing him for $100-something billion.
134 billion.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're off the topic.
I think we as I end each call with, I don't think we solved any problems today.
I know, and I like to remind you that I know we have.
We
I'm not
solved-
sure what they were, but I know we solved something somewhere.
We lost Mark along the way, but we'll wrap this up today. I think this was a great conversation about cars. I hope for the folks that are listening, for the men pushing 60, you feel the same way, because I know it's there's so much more to come on this. But
Absolutely.
Stay tuned for our future episodes. We've got a lot of stuff in the tank. If you're listening, we're gonna have some AI conversations. We're gonna have definitely some top 10s about music and a little more sports. We're gonna get back to the kind of what the hell's going on today. We're gonna have one of those. What the hell's going on today? And what are you drinking? And it's probably going to be around sports.
Don't we have a like a top 10 swimsuit models of all time, just to tease the? I think that was Mark's recommendation. He's not here, so I feel like I should say it on his behalf.
But that's when we have the video component.
Right. Exactly.
All right. Our show does have a mantra, and I think we all know it. It is, remember, if you are a man and you are having a bad day,
Nobody cares.
then it does get worse. Thank you, gentlemen. We will.
Thanks, guys.
Alrighty.
Next time.
Peace out.